Marvel, specifically the MCU, y'all just gotta keep it real about what y'all are doing. That's all y'all gotta do. Just be blunt about it. Just be straightforward about it. That's all y'all have to do. Now listen, this conversation is not about to be the MCU versus the blacks. This conversation is not about to be about black representation within the MCU. I know that's what the conversation is online, but we're going to approach this situation from a different point of view. Like, I see the videos, I see the TikTok videos, I see the Instagram videos, I see the YouTube videos, and I agree on some points, but we need to approach this situation with a different point of view. And this is what the actual problem is regarding the MCU. In 2019, the MCU, they peaked. They had Infinity War, and then they had Endgame. The Infinity Saga, it was a decade full of bangers. Marvel has built up their reputation to be the big boss of superhero flicks. They were like running a monopoly, saying nobody else can do movies like us. Marvel, they peaked in 2019. And then after Endgame, they f***ed up their reputation. They kept dropping a whole bunch of projects where it was just like, what the is this? We entered this multiverse saga and none of this made any sense. And then they utilized Disney Plus to drop all these live action television shows. And it's like, yo, what are we doing, Marvel? The problem was, it's not the fact that they were introducing new characters. It was the scripts. It was the production. It was the storytelling. Everything that Marvel was putting out between the years of 2019 and 2026, it damn near sucked. We had a couple bangers here and there. You know, everybody loves Spider-Man Brand New Day. Everybody loves Spider-Man Far From Home. Wakanda Forever did good. Guardians 3 did good. Deadpool and Wolverine did good. But outside of that, those bangers do not make up for the 10 years worth of ass projects that Marvel has been putting out post Endgame. So what is Marvel trying to do? They're trying to pivot. They're trying to do a reboot after Secret Wars. Right now, Kevin Feige, he keeps putting it out to the press like, wait, hold up, y'all. We're not doing a reboot. We're doing a reset. We're still keeping some of the continuity of the current MCU. We're just going to be doing things a little bit different. Kevin, you guys are doing a reboot. Let's just call a spade a spade. You guys are doing a reboot. What's happening is they are going to introduce the X-Men. They are not 100% passionate about the X-Men. The X-Men, they're going to be used as a distraction. The X-Men are going to be used as the front face of Marvel. So time can pass between Secret Wars and their real plans. And what's in between Secret Wars and their real plans are the X-Men. But after they do what they want to do with the X-Men and during the run of the X-Men in the MCU, they're going to tackle their real plans. And their real plans is to reboot these characters. They want to bring back Iron Man. They want to bring back Captain America, the Steve Rogers version of Captain America. They're going to get rid of Sam Wilson's version, but they want to bring back Steve Rogers. That's what they plan on doing. That is why we see Chris Evans reviving his role in Doomsday as Steve Rogers. And it's like, why? Steve Rogers had an amazing finale in Endgame. There's no reason to bring him back in Doomsday. And to be honest, what the is Steve Rogers going to do against Doctor Doom? Are we being serious here? That is another reason why they brought back Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom in Doomsday. Now, granted, I hope they keep it this way. I hope RDJ is literally going to be playing Doctor Doom with no ties to Tony Stark whatsoever. I don't know. We shall see. But it's the fact that they brought them back for this movie. But they introduced so many new characters post Endgame to Doomsday. So many new characters. We had the Eternals, we had Shang-Chi, we had She-Hulk, we had Miss Marvel, we had Monica Rambeau. It was a plethora of new characters that were introduced post Endgame. But in the MCU's minds, those characters are failures. Now, the reason why that they are failures is because, again, the storytelling and the production. If they would have spent the same amount of time, energy, and passion in two projects, just like they did with Iron Man, just like they did with Captain America, they could have really invested the time and energy into these characters and bring them up to the same level as the Iron Man and the same level as the Captain America. But they did not do that. And that's why we've seen so many flops post Endgame. And so now they're trying to course correct. It's like, all these characters that we introduce, we got to rely on the motherfuckers that's going to bring success. We got to rely on Spider-Man, which I'm not opposed to that. Bring in more Spider-Man flicks. We got to rely on Tony Stark, Iron Man. We got to rely on Captain America, Steve Rogers. All these other characters, it ain't working for us. It ain't working for us. And it's like, it's not working for us because y'all suck at telling stories. But y'all don't want to tap into that accountability. So y'all just going to do what y'all feel is comfortable, what y'all feel like the audience is going to gravitate to. The audience would have gravitated to these new characters if y'all would have, again, spent the same amount of time, energy, and passion into them like you would do with an Iron Man, like you would do with the Captain America, Steve Rogers. So that's what we're seeing here. And I know that was a big, long intro, and you're like, well, what does that have to do with the subject of the video? Their plan is to relaunch Iron Man and relaunch Captain America after Secret Wars. And they are going to do that by any means necessary. That is what their plan is. But unfortunately, we are seeing the negative effects of this plan. But the timing of these effects is all happening within the same month. And the timings of these effects is all happening with the same type of characters. Y'all get where I'm going with this? I told y'all, this is not an MCU versus the blacks conversation. This is not a conversation about black storytelling within the MCU. It's not about that. It is about the negative effects that we are seeing with the MCU's main plan to reboot their most popular characters. But the timing of everything, that is what the internet is reacting to. It's not a coincidence. It's definitely not a coincidence. But the backlash, all the controversy, they are reacting to the MCU's main plan to reboot Captain America and reboot Iron Man. And they are going to do this reboot by any means necessary. So that means all the characters that were introduced post Endgame, we don't need them. We don't need them anymore. And that's what you guys are seeing. We are seeing the effects of it. But again, like I said, the timing, that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to talk about the methods, and we're going to talk about the timing, and we're going to hold Marvel accountable for their actions. We're not going to accuse the MCU of being racist. Calm down, my blacks. We're not going to do that. What we are going to do is discuss the negative effects of their plans to reboot Captain America and reboot Iron Man. In those negative effects, we're going to unpack the pattern that you guys see involving Wonderman, involving War Machine, and involving Blade. So let's talk about it. But before we do that, theme song. All right, first up, the subject of this video on July 30th, 2026. These dates are important. That's why I'm saying them. On July 30th, 2026, Wonderman was canceled. You can look at this Instagram post of Yahya Abdul-Manti II reacting to the cancellation of Wonderman. Now, here's the thing. Wonderman was a good ass show. I was skeptical about Wonderman at first. I said it on my channel. Y'all can go back and look at my Wonderman review. Y'all can go look at my 2026 slate involving the MCU. I was hesitant about the series Wonderman, and I was pleasantly surprised. I loved the series. The series was amazing. A lot of people loved the series. The public reception of Wonderman was amazing. The critics love it. Now, I don't know what the quote unquote ratings were for Wonderman because, it was on Disney Plus, and I don't know how Disney Plus does their rating system. I don't know if Disney Plus is judging off of the amount of people that streamed the show. I tried to look and find that information and it was so confusing. I'm just like, whatever. All I know is motherfuckers love the show. And the love of the show was so good that the lead actor, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he was nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series. So Wonderman is getting all this good press, is getting all this good praise, is getting all this good excitement that Marvel decided to release to the public and announce that Wonderman will be getting a season 2. On March 23rd, 2026, Marvel Studios put it out there that they greenlit a season 2 for Wonderman. And look at the engagement. People loved the series. People were excited that we were getting a season 2. Now, here's the thing about the Disney Plus shows, the live action Disney Plus shows. Majority of those shows are limited series, meaning you're only going to get one season. WandaVision, one season. Moonlight, one season. She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel, Falcon and Winter Soldier, Secret Invasion, Echo, Hawkeye. Majority of those Disney Plus shows, you only got one season. The MCU, they really could have avoided all this by not announcing a season 2, because you don't have a history of announcing a season 2 for the majority of your Disney Plus shows. Whether the show is good or whether the show is not good, you guys do not have a strong history of announcing a season 2 of a Disney Plus show. The only 2 shows that I can think of at the top of my head that were on Disney Plus that got another season was Loki and Daredevil. Other than that, the majority of the Disney Plus shows, the live action shows, they only received one season. So you could have kept that same behavior and just had Wonderman be a limited series for one season and put it out there that Wonderman will return soon and just stick him in another project. But y'all did not do that. You guys decided to release to the public that Wonderman will be getting a season 2. Y'all jumped the gun because y'all saw the reaction. Y'all saw how many people loved Wonderman. Wonderman was getting so much good publicity. Y'all decided to jump the gun and announce to the public that a season 2 was on the way. But see, this is Marvel's problem. Stop announcing that you don't have any plans to execute. You guys knew that moving forward into Secret Wars and after Secret Wars, that Wonderman was not going to be a part of your plans. Because your main plan is to bring back Captain America and Iron Man. Wonderman was not a part of that vision. You guys knew that. You guys knew that. So why the hell did you announce that a season 2 was on the way when you don't have a clear-cut history of announcing a season 2 for your past Disney Plus shows? You could have avoided all this. Y'all could have just took in all the praise, received good publicity surrounding the show of Wonderman, had the lead actor go accept his Emmy Award if he wins, and just left it like that. But y'all did not do that. Y'all announced to the public that a season 2 was on the way. And then come July 30th, y'all decided to be like, yep, never mind, Wonderman, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. And to add insult to injury, on June 8th, 2026, you guys had an FYC screening event, and guess who you guys invited? The cast of Wonderman. The cast of Wonderman, they were on stage. They were celebrating the success of Wonderman. They were talking about the show in great detail. You had the cast, you had the screenwriters, you had the directors. Everybody, well, except Yaya, everybody was there celebrating Wonderman. You guys even decided to do a video of the cast talking about the potential storylines of what's going to go down in season 2. This is what you guys fed the public. You announced that a season 2 was on the way. You brought the cast to a screening event and celebrated the success of Wonderman. But then a month later, you guys decide to cancel the show. Why? Like I said, you could have avoided all of this if you just would have put it out there that Wonderman was only going to get one season. It was a limited series. It was a one and done, and then we're moving on to something else. But y'all did not do that. You guys misled the public with announcing that there's a season 2. You guys misled the public with having these events with the whole entire cast of Wonderman. You guys misled the public with having the cast of Wonderman predict what's going to go down in season 2. You guys misled the public, and you did not have to do that. You did not have to do that. So my question with Wonderman is, are we ever going to see this character ever again within the MCU? Because instead of giving us a project like the Thunderbolts, or aka the New Avengers, y'all really could have had Wonderman be the person to jumpstart the West Coast Avengers, since Wonderman is literally in Hollywood on the West Side, and since the West Coast Avengers is actually a team within the comics. Y'all really could have had Wonderman be the flagship person to start the West Coast Avengers and usher in a new age of heroes. Y'all really could have had Wonderman appear in Doomsday, because as of right now, Dr. Doom looks like he's about to be fighting a whole bunch of Avengers with guns and bullets. A whole bunch of secret agents going against a massive, powerful sorceress like Dr. Doom. What are we doing here? Where are the heavy hitters? Black Widow is not a heavy hitter. Red Guardian is not a heavy hitter. John Walker is not a heavy hitter. Not against no damn Dr. Doom. What the hell are they going to do against Dr. Doom? And then y'all bring back Steve Rogers. What the hell is Steve Rogers going to do against Dr. Doom? But y'all introduce a strong, powerful character like Wonderman within the MCU and then decided not to use him. Are we ever going to see Wonderman again? My guess, absolutely not. Because like I said at the beginning of this video, the MCU's main plan is to reboot everything and bring back Steve Rogers and bring back Iron Man with a whole new actor and a whole new storyline. That's their goal. And unfortunately, Wonderman is not a part of that goal. But again, the MCU could have avoided all of this if they did not announce a season 2. Wonderman could have been a one and done situation. But you guys announced the season 2. Y'all had several events inviting the whole entire cast of Wonderman to celebrate the success of the series. But then you guys decide to cancel it. Now, unfortunately, I've seen this happen before. It's not the exact same situation, but it's most definitely a similar situation. And it happened with another black character, War Machine, on September 10th. 2022 at the D23 Expo. Kevin Feige, Marvel, they announced to the public that we were getting an Armor Wars series, and it will star Don Cheadle playing War Machine, playing Rhodey, the former best friend of Tony Stark. He was going to be getting his own series. They announced it to the public back in 2022. It is 2026, and we have not seen this series take place. And on top of that, War Machine is nowhere to be found in Doomsday. What the is going on here? Now, see, there's a difference between Wonderman and War Machine. With Wonderman, we were able to get character development. We were able to get a backstory. We were able to get a series solely focused on Wonderman. Have him be the protagonist. Have his lore expand. Have the fans learn who Wonderman is and decide if they love him or not. But with War Machine, he didn't get that. War Machine, unfortunately, was a sideline character throughout his duration within the MCU. And it's crazy because War Machine is an Avenger. He joined the Avengers at the end of the second Avengers movie, Age of Ultron. War Machine, he was seen in Captain America Civil War. He was seen in Infinity War. He was seen in Endgame. War Machine is technically the second character to be introduced within the MCU. First it was Iron Man, then it was War Machine, then it was the Hulk. Because he was introduced in the first Iron Man movie as Tony Stark's best friend, played by Terrence Howard, until they recasted him as Don Cheadle. The War Machine, he was the second MCU character. And with the series Armor Wars, we could have dived into his backstory. This series could have tackled Rhodey's grief, dealing with Iron Man not being here anymore. This series could have tackled Rhodey's backstory for people to get to know who Rhodey is outside of Iron Man and outside of the suit of War Machine. This series could have dealt with Rhodey doing everything he can to keep Tony Stark's legacy alive. You guys decided not to give us Armor Wars, and then y'all stuck Rhodey in Secret Invasion, where he turned out to be a Skrull. But all of this could have been avoided if y'all just would have gave us the project that you guys announced. Armor Wars. You guys said that it was coming. And to add insult to injury, this goes back to my main point. The MCU's main goal is to reboot everything so they can bring back Captain America, Steve Rogers, and so they can bring back Tony Stark, Iron Man. Because this is why I'm mentioning the dates. This piece of news that came out in July, the same month that Wonderman was canceled. Remember I said Wonderman was canceled on July 30th, 2026. That's when it was announced. But earlier in July, specifically July 19th, 2026, it was announced that Armor Wars is reportedly being reworked into an Iron Man film for the next MCU saga. The film was originally planned to focus on War Machine. Now it's expected to introduce a rebooted Tony Stark instead. That news came out on July 19th, 2026. Y'all could not give us an Armor Wars series with War Machine on its own, despite War Machine being the second MCU character to be introduced, despite War Machine actually being an Avengers team member, despite War Machine being a BFF to Tony Stark. You guys announced that we were going to be getting an Armor Wars series, just like you guys announced that we were going to be getting a season 2 of Wonderman. But y'all did not follow through with your announcement. Why? This goes back to my point. Their main goal is to reboot the MCU, bring back Captain America, and bring back Tony Stark, Iron Man, by any means necessary. They do not care about these characters. They only want to prop up the characters that have a history of success. And the fact that it was announced that the Armor Wars series is going to happen, but not with War Machine, but with a rebooted Tony Stark, and that was announced on July 19th, 2026. The same month where it was announced that a season 2 for Wonderman was canceled on July 30th, 2026. This is the problem. This is the problem right here. This is what everybody is reacting to. The timing of everything. Everything is happening within the same month. First with War Machine, now with Wonderman. And these are 2 black characters within the MCU. This is what everybody is reacting to. This is what everybody is having a conversation about. Now, again, I want people to elevate their minds. This is not an MCU is racist conversation. It is to analyze what the MCU is doing to prop up their most popular characters, but get rid of all the characters that they do not care about. Get rid of all the characters that they introduce post-Endgame. Get rid of all the legacy characters that have been here from the beginning, just like War Machine. They did not invest the same amount of time, passion, and energy into these characters. They did not care to develop these characters so they can be on the same level as a Captain America, so they can be on the same level as an Iron Man. But the difference between a She-Hulk, a Moon Knight, a Ms. Marvel, a Hawkeye, the difference between these characters and Wonderman and War Machine, the difference is both of them are experiencing the effects of their initial plans to bring back Captain America and Iron Man. Both of them are experiencing these negative effects within the same month. That's why I'm saying, you guys, it's the timing. The timing is just all the way up. That is what this controversy is about. It is about the timing of everything, because they're not doing anything different compared to these other characters, compared to She-Hulk, Ms. Marvel, Hawkeye, compared to whomever. They're not doing anything different. None of those characters are going to be in Doomsday. We don't even know if those characters are going to be in Secret War. They do not care about those characters. Their main goal is Captain America and Iron Man. That is their main goal. Yes, they're introducing the X-Men, but the X-Men are going to be a distraction. They're going to reboot this whole thing because they want to bring back their cash cows. They want to bring back Captain America, Steve Rogers. They want to bring back Iron Man, Tony Stark. But again, the negative effects that you guys are seeing is happening around the same time with the same type of characters, with the same black characters, with Wonderman and with War Machine. But here's the up situation. It gets worse. It gets worse because now we gotta talk about Blade. Jesus Christ, we gotta talk about Blade. MCU, I'm not finger pointing and calling y'all racist, but Jesus God, at least I have the brain capacity to unpack what you guys are really doing. And nothing is coincidental. Nothing is coincidental. But again, it's the timing. It's the timing. It's the timing. So let's just go ahead and talk about Blade. Blade falls into that exact same category. The same thing that happened with Wonder Man. The same thing that happened with War Machine. It's the same thing that happened with Blade. They only care about rebooting the MCU to bring back Captain America, Steve Rogers, and to bring back Tony Stark, Iron Man. That means they're just going to get rid of whatever characters that were introduced post-Endgame, or get rid of whatever Avenger Legacy characters like Hawkeye, like Doctor Strange, like War Machine. But the difference between War Machine, Wonder Man, and Blade, like I'm about to discuss right now, everything involving their cancellation, the timing, it all happened around the same time. So let's take things back to June 2019. They had a summer version of a Comic-Con. Kevin Feige was there introducing upcoming Marvel projects. Take a look at the clip.
All that stuff's been rumored. You've heard about rumors. But I want to leave you today with one more thing that I don't think has been rumored about. Ladies and gentlemen, two-time Academy Award winner, Mahershala Ali. You brought your own hat, Mahershala. You did? What is that? Thank you. Thank you.
So just like they introduced season 2 of Wonder Man, just like they introduced a new series, Armor Wars, starring War Machine, they introduced a new project, Blade, starring Mahershala Ali. He put on the hat. It was a big commotion. It's pictures with Mahershala Ali in the Blade hat, pictured with Kevin Feige, the CEO of Marvel Studios, of the MCU. Just like they made a whole public announcement gearing up for all the hype concerning this movie. What happens? July 20th, 2026, the same exact month that we got in the news about the cancellation of season 2 regarding Wonder Man, that came out on July 30th, 2026. The same month where we got the news of Armor Wars will not be starring War Machine. It will be starring a rebooted version of Tony Stark. That piece of information came out on July 19th, 2026. The same month with the Wonderman update, the same month with the Armor Wars update, we got an update with Blade. Because this interview clip came out July 20th, 2026. And it is Kevin Feige discussing Blade. Take a look at the clip.
How much time in therapy have you spent talking about Blade? This poor project. We just need to get this done, Kevin. How are you doing?
Therapy. Should we get into a therapy session?
Yeah, lie down. I mean, we all want it. Mahershala wants it. How are you feeling at this moment?
I'm feeling very excited that we got Wesley back for a time in Deadpool and Wolverine, and like a gigantic loser and failure that we didn't get off the ground with Mahershala.
And honestly, with Kevin Feige's comments, I call bullshit. What do you mean you could not get a Blade movie off the ground? You didn't even have to start from scratch. Blade has a whole trilogy from the 90s that Chuck could have used as a blueprint. And the MCU better not act like they haven't done that before, because they definitely had. As a matter of fact, the most recent MCU film that felt like a remake was Fantastic Four: First Steps. It had the same exact premise of the 2005 Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. In both Fantastic Four movies, the team was going through major life changes. In Rise of the Silver Surfer, Reed and Sue, they were getting married. In First Steps, Reed and Sue, they were having a child. In Rise of the Silver Surfer, we see Norman Rad, the Silver Surfer, being introduced. In First Steps, we see a female Silver Surfer being introduced. The big bad of Rise of the Silver Surfer was Galactus. The big bad of Fantastic Four: First Steps was Galactus. Rise of the Silver Surfer had an inaccurate depiction of Galactus. First Steps had a very comic accurate depiction of Galactus. So I'm saying all this to say that MCU, they have done this before. And Blade has 3 movies that you guys could have picked. Did a recreation or pull elements from that original trilogy and create something new. The blueprint for the Blade movies, they were there. But from the announcement of 2019 to 2026, we haven't gotten any Blade updates. You guys announced to the public that a Blade project was on the way. Just like you announced to the public that Wonderman Season 2 was on the way. Just like you announced to the public that Armor Wars starring War Machine was on the way. But just like Wonderman and just like War Machine, the Blade film, the Blade project has been canceled. And that piece of information came out in the same exact month where we got an update about Wonderman, when we got an update about War Machine and Armor Wars. That update came in the exact same month, July 2026. But you guys are confused why so many people are accusing the MCU of being racist, accusing the MCU of being anti-black. Look at the timing of the situation. And to make matters worse, Mahershala Ali, you know, the 2-time Oscar-winning actor that would have killed this Blade role. It would have done numbers. Y'all seen the way Sinners went up. That was an immediate success. So just imagine a Blade vampire movie starring a 2-time Oscar-winning actor, Mahershala Ali. But that's beside the point. Within the same month of July 2026, Mahershala Ali did an interview with GQ magazine. That interview was released on July 31st, 2026. The timing, you guys, the timing. The interviewer and the author of the article, his name is Derek Lawrence, and he asked Mahershala Ali, are we any closer to Blade finally becoming a reality? Mahershala Ali responds and says, I'm good. Again, you have me under contract. They have billions of dollars. If they wanted to do this movie, we would have done this movie. So we're not doing the movie. I feel ready to move on from the Blade questions. Those questions are for them. They didn't want to do it. So they should answer that question. And again, let's hear Kevin Feige's response to the Blade question.
I'm feeling very excited that we got Wesley back for a time in Deadpool and Wolverine, and like a gigantic loser and failure that we didn't get off the ground with Mahershala.
I've been repeating the sentiments all throughout this video, and I'm going to say it again. Kevin Feige and executives at the MCU, cut the You guys know what you want. You guys know what you want to do. Stand in it. Your overall plan is to get to rebooting the MCU and giving us a new Captain America, Steve Rogers, played by another actor, and a new Tony Stark, Iron Man, played by another actor. We see it. We see it. That is why you brought back RDJ and Chris Evans in Doomsday, even though their stories finished in Endgame. But y'all brought them back over a decade later, even though they had nothing to do with the multiverse saga. They didn't even appear in any of these movies. But y'all are trying to bank on that Infinity Saga success. That is why you chose not to move forward with War Machine for Armor Wars. You're going to save it for a reintroduction of a new Tony Stark and a new Iron Man. Because you guys feel that the MCU cannot survive without Captain America and without Iron Man. That's what you guys are doing. And you decided to get rid of all the other characters that you guys introduced post-Endgame. Where's Hawkeye? Where's Doctor Strange? Where's Captain Marvel? Where's She-Hulk? Where's Miss Marvel? Y'all have built this behavior of getting rid of all of these characters to make room for a rebooted Captain America and Iron Man. But the problem here is the timing. The timing of everything taking place regarding 3 black characters within the MCU and them being done wrong. The MCU needs to take accountability. If y'all did not want to do these projects, why did you announce it to the public? Why did you announce it to the public? You've never announced a season 2 of a Disney Plus show besides Loki and besides Daredevil. Other than that, you have never announced a season 2 of a Disney Plus show. But you guys decided to do that with Wonderman. You announced it in March. And then in July 30th to be exact, you canceled it. That's when the news hit the internet that Wonderman season 2 was canceled. Back in September of 2022, you guys announced to the public that War Machine was going to star in Armor Wars. But now we're receiving news in July 2026, July 19th of 2026, that the series is going to continue, but not with War Machine. It's with a rebooted Iron Man, a different actor to play Tony Stark. And then June 2019, you guys announced that Mahershala Ali was going to be playing Blade. And we have not gotten an official update. We've been getting updated rumors on like Twitter and YouTube or whomever, but we got an official update. July 20th to be exact. July 20th, 2026, where Kevin Feige confessed that nothing's going to happen with Blade. And Mahershala Ali confirmed his comments on July 31st, 2026, in his GQ article that came out within the same exact month where we got an update with Wonderman and where we got an update with War Machine. The timing, everything came out back to back to back. That is why there's controversy. The timing of everything. So now the question remains, what are we going to do about all of this? Again, with my theory, once Secret Wars get here, they're going to hit the reset button. I think the reset button is more of a reboot button. And they're going to get rid of all the characters that they introduced with the multiverse saga. They're going to bring in the X-Men. The X-Men, they're going to be a placeholder. They're going to be the main characters pushed between the time period of Secret Wars and when they finally develop a new Captain America and a new Iron Man flick. The X-Men are going to be a placeholders until they reach a new, rebooted MCU Avengers team members. Specifically with Captain America and Iron Man. That is their goal. So the question of all you MCU fans is that what y'all want? Because for me, I don't give a about Captain America and I don't give a about Iron Man. I had enough. You know, both of them got their trilogies. Both of them starred in the Avengers movies. The Avengers can definitely survive without those two. But the MCU, they don't believe that. They think that they need Captain America. They think that they need Iron Man in order to make this story happen. And so the question is that what you guys want? A new Captain America Steve Rogers movie and a new Iron Man Tony Stark movie? Or would you have loved to see all of these new characters get a chance to be the forefront of the MCU? And they could have been the forefront of the MCU if they would have dedicated the same exact passion, the same exact energy, the same exact dedication that they have done with the Captain America Steve Rogers movie and the Tony Stark Iron Man movie. We could have gotten that. Wonderman could have gotten that. War Machine could have gotten that. Blade could have gotten that. There's so many other characters within the MCU that could have gotten that. But the reason why those three characters are being highlighted is because of the timing. No, so I don't have the same level of anger of what happened with Wonderman, War Machine, and Blade. But I just wanted you guys to understand what the MCU was actually doing and highlight their behavior and highlight the pattern, because that is what everybody is upset about. But yeah, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.